In this lesson, we wish to demonstrate some of the more frequently used features of PointPlots. Note that there are two tools on the panel palette: the Run Program tool and the Object Select tool. You are probably holding the Run Program tool right now, but to be sure, go ahead and click that button now. Note that when you click a location on the coordinate system with the Run Program tool, that point is then seen here in the last point placed in the PCP's boxed field. Notice that the points are not plotted. The main thing is that the point is listed as the bottommost point of the PCP's box, as we see here on page 1 of the points palette. From here, we can, of course, plot the points using one of the buttons below the PCP's box. Let us return to the panel palette and observe that we can also plot a clicked point using this plotted button right here. Let's do that. Notice that we can choose from among a number of colors. And there we see our point. Now, let us click another point. Then, let us note that it is at the bottom of the PCP's box, and let us plot this point from here. If we open the Lines palette, we can then graph the line segment joining our 2 points. And we now have 3 objects on our coordinate system: 2 points and a line segment. So, let us now get the Object Select tool so that we can select these objects. Notice how we must position the very tip of the pointer on the line segment. Then click the mouse button. You know the object is selected when you see those handlebars appear, as you see here. Now, let us hold down the mouse button as we drag the line segment away from our 2 points. Note that we can duplicate the object by holding down the Control key as we drag the line segment. You must hold down the key before you hold down the mouse. You should practice this important move until you are comfortable with it. Note how the handlebars allow us to resize the selected object, as you see my assistant doing here. Be aware that a single point is usually just too small to select and move, as we just did with the line segment. Watch as my assistant attempts to move one of our 2 points. But, instead of moving it, the assistant has merely grabbed one of its handlebars, resulting in it being resized instead of moving it. However, there is another way we could move objects, and that is to select a point. My assistant is selecting one now. Then, we simply tap the keyboard's navigation arrows to move the point in the direction of the arrow being tapped. Note that, if you hold down the Shift key while tapping the arrow keys, the selected object will move a greater distance each time. Watch as my assistant moves objects very quickly in this way. Nice work, assistant. Okay, you can stop doing that now. Hey, will you please stop that already? Thank you. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. There is another way you can select objects, and that is to drag with the mouse button down using the Object Select tool, as you see my assistant doing here, until you completely surround the object or objects you wish to select. However, we sometimes cannot completely surround a large object in order to select it. Also, we often want to move a copy, either perfectly horizontally or perfectly vertically. So, the drag copy technique is not always a good idea. Instead, you must master the keyboard copy and paste technique, which duplicates an object directly over the original. Here, my assistant, using the Object Select tool, first selects an object by clicking on it. Next, we hold down the Control key, and then press C to copy this selection. Then, we hold down the Control key, and press V, as in Victor, to paste the copy. Finally, we can now tap the arrow keys, so that the copy moves only in the direction we desire. Especially on PCs, you cannot use the menus to do this kind of duplicating. So, it is essential you learn these very important keyboard techniques. Let's watch as my assistant demonstrates a few of these important ideas. Okay. Now watch as we show how some of what we learned can be used in the classroom. First, we clear everything, using the Clear All button. Next, we set the main function, f, as x cubed minus 3 times x squared. Note that you must use the asterisk for multiplication between the 3 and the x squared. Assistant then graphs this function, using the Do Curve Plot button. We now want to demonstrate that if we create a new function by simply adding 3 to our previous function, the resulting graph is merely that of the previous graph, lifted 3 units vertically. So, first we add 3 to the expression for function f. Next, we select the graph by clicking it with the Object Select tool. Then, we copy this graph, using the Ctrl-C combination. Then, we paste this copy, using the Ctrl-V combination. Finally, we tap the up arrow key, sometimes with the Shift key, until the copy has been raised exactly 3 units. At this time, we graph the function again, but now we'll use a different color. And we see that it does indeed appear exactly where it should. If you didn't see it, my assistant is now pulling the graph away. So you can see, it really did happen. For the purists who feel that this new function should not also be called f, note that you can toggle the little f of x button between f and y, as you see my assistant doing here. Now, watch what we do next. We go to the Tools menu. In the Object Tools section, we set the line size to 3, and we set the line color to red. We then choose the Line tool. We return to our graph, and we draw the line segment showing the 3-unit gap between our 2 curves. Finally, we choose, again, the Object Select tool, and then we select the line, and, by dragging it about, as you see here, we can convince our students that there is indeed a vertical 3-unit gap between these 2 curves. Do you understand why? Sometimes we wish to constrain movement by using arrow keys, but sometimes we do not. For calculus students, we say these 2 curves are parallel. But, in what sense is this true? Watch as my assistant cleverly pretends to obtain a tangent line at the point where x is 1.5. Assistant is actually drawing the secant line using 2 points extremely close together on the curve. Then, by copying and lowering this line, we see that its parallel is also a tangent line For the other curve, at exactly the same first coordinate. Assistant will do this again at another point. Let's just watch for a while. We hope you have understood the important ideas presented here regarding the selecting, moving, and duplicating of objects using the Object Select tool. With practice, you will know whether to use the Run Program tool or the Object Select tool. These tools are so important, you should learn the keyboard shortcut for obtaining them. Control 9 will choose the Run Program tool, and Control 0 will choose the Object Select tool. To remember this, note that the 0 looks like an O for object. So, Control 0 chooses the Object tool. The Run Program tool is Control 9 because the 9 is to the left of 0, just as the Run Program button is to the left of the Object Select button in the panel palette. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you in more videos. Bye-bye.